Coming up on UCF Nightly News, we reflect on UCF alumni Dylan Lyons and how his passing continues to shape the field of journalism.
Next, we talk about how a popular UCF admission program has been canceled by the university.
Also, we see how UCF ranks in a new list by US and News World Report. We talk about what goes into making this decision.
In sports, we preview the Knights' first conference game in the Big 12. They'll be up against Kansas State. We also check out the men's soccer team ahead of the game against Marshall University.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Sedaya Keita.
And I'm Perretti. Today is Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Traveling between South Florida and Central Florida just got a lot easier. The new Brightline train station welcomed its inaugural train from Miami to Orlando International Airport this morning. While tickets start at $79 one way, UCF students can receive a 25% discount on select tickets. Rides from NCO to Miami will take about 3.5 hours, with speeds up to 125 miles per hour. Nightly News reporter Amy Diaz is at the opening of the station. You can check her coverage of the event on our Instagram at UCF Nightly News.
This week, U.S. News and World Report released the best national university rankings. The media company released the list on Monday, ranking UCF 124 out of 439 universities. Dr. Aaron Smith, UCF instructor in statistics and data science, speaks on the data-driven outcomes of the rankings list and how it impacts UCF's spot on the list.
These are the objective measures. These are the measurements that, there's no personal bias. There's no opinions involved in it. It's just that we are doing a good job, and this ranking reflects that.
Smith discovered that the data-driven outcomes would place UCF at 61, a much higher position in UCF's official ranking. Experts gave UCF a 3 out of 5. This rating makes up 20% of the ranking.
As we head into application season, UCF's Top 10 Nights initiative will no longer be an option for students. The program served to provide high school seniors in the top 10% of their class with automatic admission alongside other benefits. UCF media production major Tyler Brownrigg says that one of the upsides was guaranteed housing and that this helped him in his transition.
On campus, be with my friends from high school, so that was nice to have as like a security, and to know that no matter what else happened with admissions to other schools, I would have a spot in UCF and a place where I could live.
According to UCF, reasoning behind the discontinuation is due to Florida high schools and districts changing the way they report the data. The UCF fall freshman application deadline is May 1st.
We are currently in flu season, but that is not the only sickness affecting UCF students and faculty. COVID-19 cases have been rising since the new variant named EG.5 was detected. Nightly News reporter Isabella Benhuma explains the risks of this new variant and how we can protect ourselves from it.
Since the fall semester began, COVID-19 cases have been rising again at UCF. This is due to the new COVID-19 variant, EG.5, becoming dominant in the United States. The World Health Organization declared that this variant has genetic changes that give it an advantage and its prevalence is growing. UCF sophomore Camila Escobar experienced COVID-19 with mild symptoms, but still had to quarantine to protect others.
It's like the type of sickness where you don't even feel, at least with this new variant, it's a type where you don't really feel sick. You just know you can't go anywhere because you can potentially infect others. So you have to stay quarantined. You have to stay home. And personally, I'm the type of person who needs social. I need to leave the house to live.
Since the public health emergency expired, lab PCR tests have become more expensive and less accessible to people like UCF students. This has left us with at-home rapid tests that you can find at your nearest pharmacy or at the UCF Health Center. The FDA recommends waiting at least 5 days to test after you've been exposed, isolating as much as you can, and of course, wearing a mask. Registered nurse Nicole Mercado emphasizes the importance of taking care of yourself while sick, but says that the virus will run its course.
When it comes to being sick with COVID or flu or any of these viruses, you're really treating your symptoms. You're not really treating for the virus to go away. The virus is going to run its course.
UCF Health Services offers medicine, testing, vaccines, and more to help students during difficult times. In Orlando, Isabela Benjumea, UCF Knightly News.
If you're feeling sick, UCF recommends staying home. You can make a doctor's appointment by going to www.studenthealth.ucf.edu or calling 407-823-2701.
A group of UCF engineering students have received a $25,000 grant to develop a biosensor device that could detect toxins in surface water. UCF Nightly News reporter Afra Al-Namani shows us what these students have accomplished.
The Environmental Protection Agency gave the group of engineering students the money to develop a biosensor. They say that the purpose of developing the technology is to have a cost-effective way of testing the safety of water. Associate Professor Woo Hyung Lee, who overlooks the students' research, says he was thrilled when they received the grant.
Our project, we are expecting we can give some early warning method to prevent this the algae toxins is getting severe.
The MCLR, if congested by a human, can cause gastrointestinal and abdominal distress. But on a more serious case, MCLR can lead to damage of the liver or kidneys. It can also be deadly for pet animals.
The student's device uses antibodies to detect the harmful algae. The next stage of the development is refining the biosensor so the device detects the right antibodies as accurate as possible. They hope to use it later in real-world scenarios.
You actually need to be able to develop a calibration curve that helps you with that particular water that you want to test. So once you're able to develop this curve with this microsensor, then you can always use that curve to determine the levels of the MCLR in your waters.
Jennifer Hughes, a junior environmental engineering major, says she has an interest in environmental issues and working on the project helped her hone her research skills for the future. In Orlando, Afra Al-Namani, UCF Nightly News.
Professor Lee says they're preparing for phase 2 of the research. If they're granted the award, $100,000 will be awarded to the team to implement the biosensor design.
Nightly News weather anchor Avery Jens joins us now at the desk.
Avery, what's the weather looking like right now?
Hey guys, the temperature outside right now is a nice 84 degrees. The humidity is at 61% and the rain chance is currently 45%. Winds are coming in at 12 miles per hour from the northeast. I'll have more on weather later in the show. Back to you, Sedaya and Ron.
UCF alum and Spectrum News 13 reporter Lyons was tragically killed in February while reporting on a story in Pine Hills.
On Thursday, members of the journalism community at UCF met to discuss a new way to honor him.
UCF Nightly News reporter Avery Jens shares more about this proclamation and what it means for the community.
In February of this year, UCF Nightly News alumni Dylan Lyons was killed while on an assignment for Spectrum News 13 in Orlando. Since his passing, many journalists have raised concerns over safety in the field. George Daniels, vice chairman of the Freedom and Responsibility Committee at the Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication, presented a resolution on behalf of AEJMC on Thursday.
It's a statement of policy by the members, more than 2,500 members of AEJMC, and the idea is that we as members of AEJMC are taking a stand when it comes to violence against journalists, but we're also celebrating the life of a great broadcast journalist.
Gary Lyons, Dylan's father, says that he hopes this resolution will make reporters' jobs safer and that companies will implement better practices and policies. Eric Adelson is a professor of journalism at UCF. He shared how he will incorporate the resolution into his classroom.
I will include in part of my curriculum discussions, open discussions, frank discussions about safety, about protecting yourself, about protecting the people you're out with, too.
AEJMC says they will continue to work on instilling this resolution in newsrooms and classrooms across the country. In Orlando, Avery Jens, UCF Nightly News.
Please join us in a moment of silence to honor Dylan's legacy.
Thank you. When we come back, we will see how a $141 million grant for Florida's wildlife corridor is impacting local farmers.
Plus, we talk about a new disease that is making frogs croak. Also, what this spread could mean for local ecosystems.
Later on, Ava returns to tell us what the weather looks like for the week.
Stay tuned. UCF Nightly News. We'll be right back. In national news, the Louisville United Auto Workers Union held a rally last night in support of the 13,000 auto workers striking across Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. Sources say that the rally is likely the first step in a fully strike from the UAW in Kentucky. The union had said that more plants are prepared to go on strike if a contract is not met by today. The three companies dealing with the strike, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, say they can't comply with the union's demands due to the increased cost of transitioning to electric vehicle production. This week, Florida made big strides in land conservation throughout the state. On Monday, Governor DeSantis and the Florida cabinet approved a $141 million investment to expand Florida's wildlife corridor. The expansion spans over 42,000 acres through the Florida Forever and Rural and Family Lands Protection Programs. One of the permanent agricultural land conservation easements approved Monday includes 8,881 acres within the Adams Ranch project in Osceola County. Leeann Adams is part of the fourth generation cattle operation. She shares what this means for her family's land ranch.
For the most part, we can continue doing all of our agriculture operations. We just cannot, build houses.
Conservation easements like this also help to ensure that future generations after her can keep the family land. Another agricultural conservation easement approved Monday includes the Buck Islands Ranch project in Highlands County.
UCF researchers have found in a recent project that understudied deadly disease of frogs is more widespread in Central Florida than previously thought. This frog sickness could spell trouble for our local ecosystems. UCF Knightly News reporter Heather Bazley has more on what problems could arise.
UCF researchers' recent findings show that the pathogen amphibian Perkinsia infected and killed a third of the frogs sampled in their new study. Its presence was associated with the cooler, wetter conditions typical of a Florida winter.
So amphibian Perkinsia is a little protist. It's basically a little single-celled organism that is perfectly adapted to basically go in, colonize into the host's liver, and eat through all of that tissue and ultimately kill the host.
Frogs are a crucial part of many ecosystem food webs and are also considered an indicator species. Their sensitivity to environmental changes and pollution can serve as early warning signs of ecosystem disruption. With climate change becoming a prominent issue, researchers feel that this frog-killing disease can become more of a problem in the near future. As northern regions become warmer from climate change, more areas could experience conditions favorable to Perkinsia infections in frogs due to the disease that flares around temperatures that are reported lower than the average.
I think it's important that we need to bring awareness to this topic to make sure that balance is maintained to keep our ecosystems healthy and happy.
This major frog disease can spread very easily through people's boat nets, shoes, and more. Findings from this new research can help with conservation efforts moving forward to help better assist and protect the frog species. In Orlando, Heather Bazley, UCF Nightly News.
A way you can help protect the frogs is be mindful to not spread animal pathogens around. All it takes is rinsing things in a solution of household bleach or leaving items out in the sun to dry. Coming up, we'll take a look at what the weather is looking like in Central Florida. Also, we see what the conditions will be like for your weekend plans.
Plus, our friends from Embry-Riddle will give us the lowdown on what is brewing in the tropics.
Later on, we see what's going on in sports.
Nightly News will be right back. This week, 6 years ago, makes it over half a decade since Hurricane Maria devastated the island of Puerto Rico. Electricity was cut off for 100% of the island and access to clean water became limited for many residents. Despite Maria hitting the island 6 years ago, students like Junior International Relations major Ana Bayo believes not enough has been done to properly help the island recover and cites awareness as the main issue.
A lot of problems come down to like a lack of awareness or a lack of knowledge, for better words, like just not knowing that Puerto Ricans are American citizens. That's something that I get quite often.
Disturbed water and food along with other basic necessities, but many students like Bayo believe not enough has been done to continue to help the island. To date, FEMA has promised more than $30 billion to help Puerto Rico recover from the Hurricane Maria and the 2020 earthquakes.
Tomorrow's the first official day of fall, and the weather seems like it's still been pretty brutal.
Yeah, the sun has been quite harsh recently. Let's take a look at the weather, what will be like this weekend. So Avery, are we finally going to get a break from the heat anytime soon?
Good afternoon, Knights. My name's Avery Jens, and let's take a look at today's weather forecast, starting off with our highs. In Tallahassee and Orlando, the high is 86 degrees, with Jacksonville at 85 and Tampa and Miami at 88. Now let's take a look at the lows. Jacksonville is the lowest at 70 degrees, with Tampa and Orlando at 71. Tallahassee is lowest at 68, and Miami is the highest at 74. Now let's take a look at the 5-day weather forecast. The coolest day seems to be Wednesday, with a high of 85 degrees and a low of 73 degrees. The highs look to be averaging in around the high 80s, peaking in the 90s throughout the week, and the lows averaging between 67 to 73 degrees. Precipitation levels look to be varying throughout the upcoming days, with Tuesday and Wednesday having the highest levels at 58%. So it does seem like it's going to be cooling down a little bit in the upcoming weeks. As you know, we've had the highest August record-breaking heat. So that should be very refreshing. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Back to you, Ron and Sedaya.
Thank you, Avery.
Now let's check in with our partners at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Meteorology major Michael Hallett shows us what's happening across the nation.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Howlett from Embry-Riddle, and right now the National Hurricane Center is advising us of this tropical system that's moving northward over towards the Carolinas, especially towards North Carolina. Affected areas could be all the way from Delaware down into the Carolinas. In that area, you're going to be seeing some rough surf, high seas, and potentially some heavy rainfall. That's what that light green is. So make sure you continue to monitor this over the next coming days as the National Hurricane Center provides more updates as this storm continues to develop over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're also seeing an area of low pressure coming through the Midwest here, bringing severe thunderstorms to the area, especially later in the day. That's not unusual for this time of year in that area. They're pretty used to it down there, but make sure that we keep an eye out for that. Bring your raincoats if you're in that area. We're also seeing the fall equinox this Saturday morning. 2:50 a.m. the sun will be at even tilt. That's where we're going to have the same amount of sunlight and darkness in the day. So overall, those colder temperatures will start coming, and that fall season is starting.
After the break, we'll take a look what head coach Gus Malzahn has to say about the Knights before they head into their first conference game tomorrow night.
Plus, the UCF Table Tennis Club is serving up some players on their brand new home court. We'll take a look at it when we come back.
Good afternoon, Knights. I'm Afra Al-Namani, and I'm here to give you your sports update. After 2 years of anticipation, UCF football will play its first game in the Big 12 against the Kansas State Wildcats. Now, with all the anticipation finally coming to a head, the Knights look to light up the scoreboard in tomorrow's matchup against the Wildcats as they come in the game with the #1 ranked offense in the conference. However, head coach Gus Malzahn believes this will be easier said than done, given they are facing the defending champs of the league.
We just happen to be playing the defending champs in the league, and you can see why when you turn on the film. It'll be a really good challenge for our team about where we're at.
According to ESPN's matchup indicator, the Knights are underdogs with a 42% chance of victory, but despite this, Malzahn remains peerless and ready for the challenge ahead. The Knights will start off conference play on the road and without starting quarterback John Rice Plumlee. Tomorrow's game will start at 8 p.m. and be streamed live on Fox Sports. UCF's men's soccer team set a historic record on Tuesday and now face their toughest matchup of the year. The Knights were ranked 3rd in the NCAA United Soccer Coaches ranking, the highest in UCF athletics history. With an undefeated start throughout 6 games, UCF will now travel to Marshall University. Marshall has won all 7 of their games this season and are ranked as the best team in the country. This will be the Knights' first away game in the Sun Belt Conference. The men's soccer team is undefeated against Marshall with 5 wins over the Herd. The UCF Table Tennis Club officially has its own court to call home. The new space located in the Recreation and Wellness Center provides an ample space for students to hone their skills due to their recent recognition. The club has received new tables and equipment in order to open doors for more players to ensure that the joy of the game is accessible to a widespread audience.
It was this one small thing between 10 to 15 people. It was inside that room right there. It was a very small room with only like 5 tables. But then I worked and tried to get like a bigger space for bigger tables and more members, and we finally got it, and it feels really great.
The Table Tennis Club is launching a series of tournaments all aimed at not only showcasing top-notch ping pong skills, but by welcoming new members into its table tennis loving community. That's all we have for our sports update. Back to you, Ron and Sedaya.
That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on our website, nicholsonstudentmedia.com.
And if you got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynewsucf@gmail.com or Instagram at UCF Nightly News. Make sure you tune in to Nightly News webcasts every day at 1 p.m. on the same channel you're watching right now. Thanks for watching and have a good day.